I picked up this brush hog from my grandfather. It is 5 feet wide. It's a Ford brand brush hog. It's been around for a while. I think it works. We know the gearbox has a leak, oil leak, but besides that, it ran when parked. So I need a little bit of maintenance, but I'm going to be using this for some yard cleanup. I guess it's wedged in there pretty good. I think I'm gonna have to drag it off backwards and then pick it up from there. All right, we made it. Wasn't so bad. It's heavy though. So I'm gonna use this to clean up areas like along this fence line here, and we have basically the whole perimeter of the property is just tall prickers and stuff. And then this whole area back here, this is our property on the other side of the stone wall. And some of that you can get to, but most of it is pretty much impenetrable, just totally overgrown So I want to get back there this spring before it gets too thick that we can't even see. There's a lot of debris. You can see there's tires, there's some metal in the back. But basically want to brush hog a path into here and just kind of see what we've got, clean this area up. This is a nice flat spot. I think I want to put a workshop up here at some point in the future. This is where the old barns used to be, and there's still some foundations and remains, but yeah, that's the plan. Clean this all up and at least see what we're working with. My other thought is we have this very large lawn that I don't think we're gonna mow this regularly. I think we're gonna maybe let it grow, and I might brush hog it a couple times a year if this works out well. This morning I am working on the hitch on my tractor. Primary thing today is I'm going to install Pat's quick hitch system on here to hopefully make life a little easier for not only installing this implement but all the others I have. The other thing is that I need to sort out my sway chain situation. Right now I kind of pawed through my parts bin and had some lengths of chain, and I have these carabiners that they're load rated for some kind of load, but I can't tell what the load rating is. I don't have anything suitable to really attach to the lift arm, so I may try to run with this and we'll see how it goes. I really think that carabiner is gonna break. I'll have to get something a little stronger, but we're gonna see how that goes. I've got my little helper here today. First step, this is the Pat's quick hitch category 1. It's pretty stout. I'm impressed so far. The first thing is to slide it over your link arms, and there's some shims that go on the bottom here. These lift arms are not the factory ones. These are some cheap things that I got a couple years ago, because the factory ones that I have are like 3 or 4 inches shorter, and my plow, my snow plow, was like super close to the tires, especially with the tire chains on. So I bought these to give me enough length back where I didn't have any collisions. That being said, they provide a 3/8 shim and a 1/4 inch shim, and I found that using both of them, it's still probably not enough, but I'm gonna try it and we'll see how it goes. So the shim pack you press this pin in, there's a hole in the bottom, so that fits in there. The hole. And then that slides over, and then this pin, this is the main, I forget what they call it, hitch pin or load pin or whatever. Just a second. This goes in with this hole towards the inside. This will be used for the stabilizer bar. So you got to kind of line it up with the ball and with the other side. Alright, so that's in. This adds 4 inches of length, but even with these longer arms, the brush hog is actually really close to touching the tires. So I need this extra length to make sure that I don't hit anything. Charlie, can I see? Are you holding that pin? Here it is. Okay. There's a cotter pin that goes in this side, and then there is there's a U-bolt.
Wait.
Yeah.
I got this for you, Dad.
Thank you, bud. Alright, so that's just finger tight, just to kind of hold things in place. The next step, I'm going to put the other one on same way, and then I need to line up the 2 eyes, and then there's like jacking screws that go into the side here to set the angle of the arm, or of the end. Alright, so I've got both sides on, and this is the stabilizer bar, or spreader bar, I guess.
This is the real for me. This is the real for my fight truck.
Okay. And this basically keeps the hitch
The
the right distance apart so that you can come up to your implement and it'll fit. It's adjustable. Each implement might need a different dimension. But to set this up the first time, they basically say to set this about 26 inches from, hook to hook for category 1. I'm using just a rake. They recommend just to keep the hitches straight. So just unlock the lock, pick this up, and I'm going to lock it in the open position just to make things a little easier. Pick that up. That fits in pretty good. This will just help keep things lined up with each other. I've got all the set screws started. I did have one issue. This bar, it's got these like bent ends. This one wasn't really at the right angle, and so it was keeping this end at kind of a funny angle. So I just put it in the vise, gave it a little more bend, and now everything is lining up okay. So I'm just gonna screw these in. They're a little stiff, and I'm trying to center the ball into the hitch and keep it like plumb vertically. Alright, so that one's in. And that's pretty solid. Let's see if I can get this outside one a little bit snugged up. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to set these jam nuts. Might have to adjust this a little bit once I'm hooking it up to an implement. But for now, I'm going to call this close enough. U-bolt. And this doesn't need to be real tight. This is just kind of just to keep it from moving, so just snug is fine. That's why they send jam nuts. Tighten the jam nut. Alright, that's not going to go anywhere. Do the same thing on the other side. Alright, I've got both sides on. Just kind of give you a little closer view here. You can kind of see down there and in here where the threads are getting a little mashed by the double stack of shims. Like I said, I think it's going to be fine. It's pretty secure. This side actually wasn't as much of an issue. So we'll see how it goes. The final thing is on your implement. They send these folded over washers, and these go onto the pin like that, and then put your clevis pin through there, and that'll keep these arms from sliding out. Basically keep them on here when you hook up. That was an easy install. I'll test it out in a minute here. I do have to figure out this sway chain thing. This moves quite a lot right now. I need to tighten those up at least just to get it centered and starting. And we'll go from there. So you can kind of see the arms are a bit inside of where they need to be to get onto these pins. So I'm going to set those a little wider. I may need to reset my chains, and then we'll try again. Well, this is the same problem I had before, so I don't know if this is making it any easier. I can get one on, and then the other one, like I spent an hour the other day going back and forth trying to get lined up with that. I don't know, maybe I just need to do this a few times. I'm not sure if there's an easier way. You know, I was off by like an inch. But now it's all screwed up and I don't have a lot of room here, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do except unhook and maybe try to drag it with the loader or something. So far this is not necessarily easier than what I had before. It was easier getting the first one hooked up for sure, but we'll see if it saves me any time in the long run. I got it. Okay, I got it. So it's definitely easier, no doubt. I basically just had to steer and push it. I nearly ran into my tent, and I nearly destroyed my ladders, but I got it hooked up. Once you're lined up, it's super easy. Just lift the hitch, and you're right on, which is great. So overall, I do think this is going to make life easier. Yeah, and you'll see like there's a good amount of space now between my tires and the brush hog, so I'm not worried about getting it into the tires. So overall, pretty happy. I also think I have an overrunning clutch that I need to put on there, and that also adds like 4 or 5 inches. So between that and these quick hitch arms, the PTO shaft is going to be perfect. I'll take out now that I have it in, I can take out the spreader bar because it'll interfere with the PTO, and I don't want to have any issues there. So I might make like some sort of like attachment here or something just to kind of keep this with the tractor so that when I take something off, I can hook this up. But I bought this overrunning clutch, and you can see, bought this on Amazon. It was cheap. The one that they had locally at Tractor Supply, which may be of the same quality, maybe better, I don't know, but it was 3 times the cost. I bought it specifically to use with this brush hog. We'll see how this goes. This is, I mean, you can see the paint is just falling off. I would say this is not the highest quality paint job, but if mechanically it works, then that's great. It does, ratchet or whatever. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. That on there. There is a grease fitting here, which I'll put some grease. I'm gonna grease this whole thing up once I get it all together. Oh, that's a tight fit. All right, so I've looked at this for a few minutes now, and the list of problems has grown. My anti-sway chains did not work at all. The little carabiner thing snapped both sides almost immediately. So gotta figure something different out there. The PTO shaft is, well, this half is bent. This half of it is fine. But you can see this like gouge area, and I don't know if you can see. Here we go. It's kind of kinked. You can kind of see the bend there. There's a couple spots, like right there. You can see it's cracked. Right there. Let's see. You can see it's cracked. So the shaft won't collapse far enough in, and I don't want to put any power through that because that seems like it's primed to let go. So I need to research if this is replaceable, fixable, if I need to buy a whole new thing. I'm not sure. U-joints are good on both ends. I did know about this already. The seal on this end of the gearbox is leaking, so this oil coming out. The manual says that this is supposed to have a lithium grease in there, supposedly greased for life, but previously 80W90 gearbox or gear oil was used in there. And so I think I'm just going to put more 80W90 in. Probably won't fix that seal yet. I want to use this and make sure that it's going to do the job before I put too much time and money into it. But I do need to get the PTO shaft fixed, and I need to get sway chains. Those are the two things that are stopping me from using this right now. Alright, so what I've learned is this is just a tube around the actual drive shaft. It's like the protector or something. So I pulled off the plastic, and there's like a clip in here that I pulled out, and I started to slide this off, but there's like this end here is pretty much the same size, and there's like you can't see it, but somewhere in here there's a plastic like bushing basically. Once that got down to here where it's all mangled up, that wouldn't go anymore. So I am trying to get this outer sleeve off so I can look at the actual drive shaft and see if it's fixable or if I need to do something different. What I'm doing, I'm cutting the tube right here right now, and I may cut it right here, and I may slice this way to kind of try to pry this broken bit open so I can slide this whole thing off. We'll see how it goes. Here's the problem. You can see right here that steel is kinked and fractured, all the way around. So there is no fixing that. I could try to bend it back, but it's gonna fail. You can see the cracks, so I don't want to put power through that. So I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. If I can get, so a possibility is that I can like cut this off. Looks like it's welded right here, so we could cut it off here. I basically keep this end, cut it off over here, and then have like a drive shaft shop weld a new piece of pipe in the middle here. That's a possibility. I suspect that's going to be just as much work and or money as just buying a brand new shaft. I don't know if you can see in there. Not really. Yeah, but there's oil down there. Let's see if we can do. It's like a little more than half full. According to the manual, this takes either 14 or 18 ounces of that lithium grease if it were empty. I just put in probably 8 to 12 ounces of gear oil. There was some in there. I don't really know how much to put in. Definitely shouldn't be full. It's gonna get spun around in there pretty good, so I think that's probably okay. We'll see how fast it leaks out and then decide if we need to do anything else differently. So I ended up buying a new shaft, new PTO shaft. It came in, it's got a guard and everything like you're supposed to have, but in order to make this work, I had to do some surgery. It came with this, I don't know what that is, 1.25 inch or something diameter round fitting. You'd have a shear bolt through there, but that doesn't work with this. So what I did is this was off of my old shaft, and this is what bolts up to the clutch, the slip clutch that's built into this rotary cutter. So I just swapped the yoke, took this one off and put this one on. So now my new PTO shaft has the right yoke to bolt up right here on this clutch. Now, the way this works, this shaft right here, there's a brass bushing that rides on here that basically centers the PTO shaft, and that's the same piece of steel as this spline shaft back here. And then this center section, there's a piece of like friction material right on each side of it, and that's what that bracket bolts to. So then if you're cutting and the blade stops, hits a stump, hits a rock, whatever, in theory this piece that's attached to the tractor will slip between the two friction pads and not ruin your tractor transmission, hopefully. The manual says that that's adjusted from the factory and should never need to be readjusted, but who knows. But at the very least, I can now get the PTO hooked up and give this a test, I think. So that's my first time brush hogging with this brush hog and ever. It runs good. I'm pretty pleased with how it's cutting. I'm kind of just doing a rough pass through. I'm exploring. I don't even know what's on the ground here, so I'm being extra careful. But you can see it's cutting pretty good. I've made a path through here. I've never walked in here before. There's a big tree in there, so I'm not going to bother with that. But got a path around the tree. And then there's still some more in here we could do. Over this way, there's a birch tree that has fallen, so I had a little trouble getting through here. But back here, it just really opens this up. I mean, I've never walked in here because it's just been so overgrown. You know, a lot of this stuff is like laying down just because A, it's so long, B, it's never been cut, C, I've got the bucket really low to make sure that I don't run into anything hazardous. But if I once I get this knocked down, I probably do this again, you know, in the fall, just once it kind of, you know, stands up. And there's a lot more back here, but I don't think I'm going to worry about that yet. I can't really get back there at this point. But overall, very happy. It's really working well.